morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you've smiled today. My name is Trisha Howard, aka Trisha Kicks Sass, and thank you for joining us for episode 11 of the monthly threat brief, the SIG download. I am super excited to be joined by Or Zuckerman today. Hi, Or.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm super excited. We had such a great episode with your cohort, Ophir Shen, a while back. So I'm super excited to have someone else from your team here. If you wouldn't mind, do you want to introduce yourself, kind of who you are, what you do, and something fun you've done in your job lately?
So I'm a security researcher at Akamai Hunt, and as you can understand from the name, we're hunting for attackers out there. So I don't know if it's funny, but one of the more concerning trends we've noticed is the increasing use of Go for writing malware. So
Yes.
this language is becoming a favorite among attackers, because it's efficient and cross-platform. I mean, it's easier to target both Windows and Linux environments with this language. So in the case we handled recently, the malware was written in Go, heavily obfuscated, of course, and designed to move laterally across networks using the proxy. It involved, other more traditional steps such as dumping Active Directory credentials via SMB and setting up a command and control server and performing port scans to identify weak points in the network. And although we were able to detect and mitigate the attack, it's another sign that defenders need to be prepared for more of these Go-based threats.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had some intense Go-based threats last year that we looked at, and as you said, it's becoming more and more popular because it's harder to reverse engineer something in Go. So definitely something to be on the lookout for. Thanks for that. Just starting the show off with gold already. I knew this was going to be great. For those of you who are continued watchers of the show, you know how we typically do this is I'm going to throw some news articles your way, and then Or and I are going to get into some discussion. One that is super near and dear to my heart, which is how the technical barrier to entry is lowered significantly and what that does to defenders and the security community in general, really. But before then, we're going to jump into some news stuff because we didn't have a show last month because on the diametrical opposite of lowered technical barrier to entry, we were all at summer camp. And we had a bunch of researchers that actually presented at summer camp. We had some really awesome stuff. The links are all in the show notes here. But we have some VPN post-exploitation techniques. This is really important to check out because this is not necessarily a CVE. This is what an attacker could do after they have gained foothold into a VPN, which, traditionally it's used as an entry point. But once they get in, they can do some big bad stuff. So go check that out. Another thing that isn't patched, Tomer Peled, one of our researchers, discovered a command injection flaw in Kubernetes sidecar project GitSync. This will not be patched because it was said not to be a flaw. It was a feature. Go read that and check that out. I'm sure I would love to hear your thought about it. Kubernetes actually said to present it to the security community and ask for your opinion. So would love for your opinions. Of course, this from an Akamai perspective. From a global perspective, we did have huge credit card numbers, 1.7 million credit card numbers stolen in a breach. Also, Fortinet was hit. That was big bad news. Go check those links out. And then a really interesting one was an in-person password reset for 30,000 employees. The Transport for London required 30,000 people to come in person to have to change their password resets. And I found this one particularly interesting because as we get more technological, somehow we manage to come back in person. It's super interesting, right? So I just found that really funny. Check out those links as always. And all right, now I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to kick it to Or, because you are our guest of honor here. Continue. Let's talk about the lower technical barrier to entry.
So speaking of lower barriers, so a few things come to mind. We are all familiar with the AI bots, and one of the more concerning developments is the use of AI for cyber attacks, right?
Yep.
So, for example, we can talk about phishing. So traditionally, phishing emails have been relatively easy to spot due to programmer or obvious fake URLs and things like that. And attackers are now using AI to generate more sophisticated phishing emails that are much harder to detect. They can mimic the writing style of legitimate users, and let's make them far more convincing. Let's make it much more likely that the target will fall for the scam. So, they can control how the link looks like. They can even generate perfect fake files, to lure victims. So.
In seconds too, right? I mean, so it can make a multi-targeted or a multi-faceted scam super quickly. I mean, it's just a game changer. The generative AI when this.
Yeah. I mean, no thinking here. Just ask the closest AI and you're done.
That's right. Just ask Daddy Computer and he will tell you what to do. Absolutely. Well, and this is particularly troubling whenever this is. This is particularly troubling because we have been moving toward this for a while with, like DDoS for hire and other elements. But now, instead of it being like we're going to outsource it, the person who's not technical can do it themselves, right? And that's wild. It's so scary.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would mention the rise of ransomware as a service.
Yes.
RAS as another example of how cybercrime has become more accessible. As you said, even individuals with limited technical skills can rent ransomware from criminal enterprises and launch their own attacks. And RansomHub is a perfect example of how ransomware as a service has evolved into a serious threat. RansomHub operates as a platform that facilitates the coordination and management of ransomware operations. So one can simply purchase the tools they need from this platform and they're done.
Yeah, and the technical ones also are even the ones who are technical are having their barrier to entry lowered too. I mean, Mirai is a great example. It's one of the more easy ones to play around with. And that's why we're seeing so much Mirai out there right now, because suddenly it's not someone who actually knows what they're doing. Now it's someone who is just maybe a little bit more technologically inclined, or maybe they have an axe to grind. And here they go. They can go create this very, very convincing scam in seconds.
Yeah. These days criminals can rent ransomware package and it's complete with step-by-step guides on how to deploy them, and they even offer customer support, to help less experienced attackers succeed. So it's funny, but in the end, it's not.
Right. It's not funny per se. It's just it's just wild.
And once again, this model has significantly lowered the barrier to entry for launching ransomware attacks. Just recently, the FBI issued an urgent warning about the growing threats of ransomware as a service. And bottom line, the implications here are clear. With services like ransomware, anyone with malicious intent can become a cyber criminal.
Oof, anyone with malicious intent can count as a criminal. Those are some sobering words to hear. Absolutely. Well, and so as we talk about the lower technical barrier to entry, this doesn't just affect our digital lives. This also can move into our real lives with things such as supply chain attacks, right? So I know we've had some big supply chain issues recently. Obviously, the XE Utils backdoor, which we did a write-up on, link is in the show notes here as well, and polyfill, right?
Right. So supply chain attacks have become one of the most, I would say, insidious threats in cybersecurity, and we've seen several high-profile cases recently. So Polyfill.io supply chain attack happened recently, and Polyfill.io is a service that provides JavaScript polyfills to web developers, and it's used by over 100,000 websites. So attackers compromise the service, injecting malicious codes into the JavaScript files served to all of these sites, and next thing you know, a vast number of users become the target, because the target the attack the service at its source. So if an attacker can compromise services like Polyfill.io, they can potentially exploit hundreds of thousands of websites simultaneously.
Right, and again, the time has shortened significantly. So now not only has the scope just completely gone out of, like, exponentially grown, you now also have such a shorter amount of time to get it out, which means you can do more of these at the same time. So you go after Polyfill, great, but then you go after Polyfill's competitors too. You go and moving on. Now you have expanded your attack surface, or sorry, your like potential win so much greater. So it's a work smarter, not harder things. These attackers function like a business, right? This is what they do. They get up every day, they go to work, and that's try to attack you, right? So they don't have the red tape that we have to deal with in corporate America when it comes to defense. So yeah, it's big bad. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, that's business. And the exit backdoor basically highlights that even core system utilities, which are often considered safe and trusted, can be compromised as well. Yes. So that case was where attackers inserted a backdoor into the exit utils packet, which is a widely used data compression tool. So yeah, this backdoor could give attackers, remote access to affect the system, allowing them, to execute commands or steal data, and yeah, it's in the core itself. So
yeah, it's, oh man, it just makes your head hurt when you really like sit and think about how difficult it is for defenders these days. You know what I mean? Like back whenever we were defending against like only the 0 days, or now we have, you got to keep patching updated. You got to now fight the people you got to now fight like the actual nation states and the teenager who got mad that, that League of Legends got kicked offline. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's really a difficult time out there for defenders. So you as a threat hunter, what are some tips that you would give to those defenders out there who maybe are struggling with this prioritization problem?
So I would say that the key is stay proactive. As attackers continue to lower the technical barrier to entry, defenders need to raise their game by adapting more advanced techniques and staying informed about the latest threats and trends. Cybersecurity, is a constantly evolving field, and staying ahead of the curve is the best way to protect your organization. And you need to do whatever you can.
Absolutely. Yeah, staying proactive. It's, if you can keep them out, it's a lot easier, right? It's all like relative, but easier to keep them out than get them out, right? Because once they're in, you have to find them. Then you got to stop them. Then you got to fix whatever they broke. And this gets very expensive. It's very expensive. Yes, it is very interesting. And I think, when we talk about how this affects, this doesn't just affect businesses too. The lower technical barrier to entry affects everyone. Your scams are going to get more consistent. Your scams are going to, not consistent, legitimate. They're going to get more legitimate. They're going to start going after people who typically would know what to look for. Now they're kind of removing that. Yeah, right, exactly. Like how, and it's particularly bad whenever they're mimicking legitimate tactics that we are conditioned to look for. So, for instance, why do the USPS scam, I think, is one of the, or any delivery scam, I think, is one of the easiest ones to talk to. Why is it successful? It looks legit. It plays on actual marketing techniques that we are used to, and it finds in like timely. It's time specific. So now we are worried about just anybody who maybe is struggling around the holidays and is looking for money you know what I mean? It's, you're fighting everybody now. Yeah, it's wild. Wow. I can't believe it's already time. Every single month, I just like am blown away by how quickly this goes. So thank you so much, Or, for all of your incredible insight here. For those of, you're fantastic. Next episode is going to be on the 30th of October. Holy moly, we will already be doing this a year. That will be our 12th episode. I cannot believe it. This is super excited. So pop in. I may or may not be in costume. We'll have to see. You can check out our SIG page on Akamai.com. That's where you'll keep up with all of the awesome research that is coming out of our team. You can stay up to date with our blog posts. And then the easiest way to keep up to date is on X, formerly Twitter, at Akamai_research. If you have a question, a comment, concern, joke, maybe even a song, be sure to email us at brighttalk@akamai.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you so much, and Cybernara, y'all.